As Annie Lowry included in her response piece in The Atlantic, quote, "The second and third order effects of cash transfers take time to show up in the data." She added, mothers' pensions, the precedent for today's welfare program, had muted effects on the women receiving them from the 1910s to the 90s, but significant effects on the lifetime earnings and educational attainment of their sons decades later. She didn't go into that further, but I will, because I found them fascinating too when I first learned about them. The Mother's Pension Program was our first government welfare program in the US, and it provided cash to moms. It averaged around $500 per month to $750 per month in today's dollars during the decades it ran. A 2014 study of it found that male children of accepted applicants lived 1 year longer than those of rejected mothers and received one-third more years of schooling, were less likely to be underweight, and had 14% higher income in adulthood than children of rejected mothers. Imagine canceling that program 4 years into it in the belief that the cash just wasn't working. It would have negatively changed the life trajectories of tens of thousands of people. We also have 4 decades of the Earned Income Tax Credit, EITC, which provides cash to tens of millions of families near the poverty line. From all those years of data, we know that an additional $1,000 in EITC exposure when a child is 13 to 18 years old increases the likelihood of completing high school, 1.3%, completing college, 4.2%, being employed as a young adult, 1%, and earnings by 2.2%. A 2021 study of the EITC found that a 10 percentage point increase of it led to 4% fewer suicide attempts and 1% fewer deaths by suicide. A 2022 study found that it reduced the alcohol abuse of pregnant mothers, and EITC money also improves birth weights, which happens to also be an observed result of the Alaska dividend, too. Please note that none of this is to say that there is nothing to learn from 1 to 3 year studies of unconditional income. One of the interesting findings from the experiments we did in the 1970s came from the cohort in the Seattle and Denver negative income tax pilots that were told they would get the money for 20 years, but only got it for 9 years before the money was canceled. Their results didn't differ from the 3-year or 5-year findings. So depending on what you're measuring, you may get the same results short-term as long-term. But long-term findings that disagree with short-term findings, I believe, carry more weight in terms of being applicable to UBI discussions.